Republican State Senator Kathleen Bernier has made no secret about it. She does not believe there was any fraud in the 2020 election.
I'm going to deal with facts and not hearsay.
Liberals are very grateful to Bernier for her position.
We may not agree on a lot of ideological issues, Madam Chair, but we certainly agree on the need to defend our democracy. And I really appreciate your outspokenness on this bedrock principle and your frank acknowledgement of the severity of the threat posed to our democracy by those who refuse to accept the legitimacy of the 2020 elections and instead peddle one lie after another and one smear after another for their own political gain or personal gratification.
But as chair of the Senate Elections Committee, Bernier can't completely ignore the 2020 election. She recently held a public hearing on a package of 10 bills and a joint resolution addressing some of the concerns with 2020. Bernier herself authored 4 of them.
First, let me preface by saying I don't disagree with everything in all these bills. Not at all. For instance, the bills by you, the chair, showed a great deal of thoughtfulness and clarify a lot of processes and terms that needed clarification.
One conservative woman from Beaver Dam was not so sure. She brought up the illegal voting activity in nursing homes that was uncovered by the Racine County Sheriff's Department. Nursing homes locked out special voting deputies and allowed employees to help residents vote instead.
And that was one instance in one nursing home at one particular time. We're talking about an entire state with special voting deputies and nursing homes that were not going to allow visitors in.
And one of Bernier's bills, SB 935, would make all of that legal anyway. Another one of her bills would require the Elections Commission to resolve every complaint involving election law violations within 60 days, unless the commission votes to delay doing anything for another 60 days. And it can vote to delay as many times as it wants. Besides these examples, liberals were strongly opposed to the package of bills. SB 941, for example, prevents the president from taking control of Wisconsin's elections away from the legislature.
I agree. It's important to encourage every qualified citizen to participate in our elections. But it's also important to remember that our elections are administered by states, not by the federal government. SB 941 ensures the people of Wisconsin, through their elected representatives, can review, amend, or block any efforts by the executive branch of the federal government to interfere with Wisconsin elections administration.
Then there is Senate Joint Resolution 101, which would amend the state's constitution to ban private grant money from funding future elections. In 2020, Facebook billionaire Mark Zuckerberg funneled millions of dollars through a nonprofit to Democrat cities in Wisconsin. That allowed political operatives to gain illegal access to local election administration.
Now's not the time to reduce opportunities for us to find creative, nonpartisan, private funding sources which alleviate the burden on taxpayers. With levy limits and frozen shared revenue, it's not really responsible to not allow us to find alternate sources of funding.
So what you're saying is you will take money from anybody and any amount of money to assist in your election process. Mm-hmm. Your rationalization or justification for taking millions of dollars for voter education at the expense of other areas in the rest of the state, to me, just doesn't pass the smell test.
Well, as you know, there were over 200 communities in Wisconsin that did also receive funding.
Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, Green Bay, and Madison got the vast majority of the Zuckerbucks. Mm-hmm. Looking back,
yes, they
do you think that was fair for those 5 communities to get all that additional money to administrate their elections and other communities did not?
I think our costs are probably generally greater than a smaller community.
No Democrats signed on to any of the election bills, a strong indication Governor Evers will veto them. However, the governor does not get a say in joint resolutions to amend the Constitution. The legislature needs to pass it 2 sessions in a row, and then voters get the final say. For the McIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmolsky.